Glassmeyer. I am the Director of Data Curation for Legal Technology Hub. And today I am with Erica Birstler. She's the Senior Director of Product Marketing for ProfitSolv. And today we are going to learn about CosmoLex. So when we were chatting, you've been there since the very beginning. Tell me a little bit about the backstory of CosmoLex and why it came to be, how it came to be, all that kind of fun stuff.
Sure. My background was always in legal software. It was more on-premise legal time billing and trust accounting software. And in 2014, there were three of us that said, hey, let's go ahead and bring this into the cloud, but make it a more practice management solution, which was very popular at the time, to bring that cloud technology into law firms and also be more than just time and billing. So we incorporated time, billing, practice management, and eventually accounting in that one solution to offer an additional cloud option to law practices.
That's great. So this is a practice management software that has everything. And you said there's accounting built in. It's not an integration. Would you consider it full body practice management, attack basically anything that a large practice or a law firm would want?
Absolutely. I think that our focus is really those that are seeking a true end-to-end solution and that single source of truth and are less dependent on integrations. There are two philosophies in that regard. Some love to have various tools with integrations. Some kind of want a little bit more simplified where everything's in one place. And that's the path that we really follow. A lot of law firms that are looking to have an alternative to QuickBooks and other financial integrations like the idea of having that all in one so that their billing and accounting and their overall financials for their firm is one united picture and a little bit more accurate, and they're able to see the full picture of their business as opposed to just what each individual user is doing each day.
That's great. Because as a data nerd, the phrase single source of truth makes my heart sing. I love integrations and I like sometimes being able to like clump stuff together, build it, but also my data hat makes me worry about do they all talk together and having to go to different places to find information. The idea of knowing that it's all in one spot, I just literally sigh with relief whenever I hear that phrase.
Yeah, I do feel too that very often these activities are done by different people in one firm. And yeah, you have a managing partner, but sometimes they don't have the visibility of what a bookkeeper might be doing. They're in their own little silo. And so what I like about also having it all in one spot is A, this is legal compliance driven because that is what we do. But B, you have the visibility to see what are the reconciliation statements? What is the reporting? Somebody else can do the work, but I, as a managing partner, want to be able to easily understand and access that information so I can make sure that my business is being run the way that I want it to be run and giving permissions to people that are required. Not everybody needs to see the financials, but those that do can work on it and have visibility to it.
Who are CosmoLex customers? Where are they? What size firm do you normally target, or who is like the best customer for CosmoLex?
Sure. So we service firms of all sizes. I will say probably around 20 lawyers plus their staff is around the sweet spot. We do also support bookkeepers. So a lot of firms that have an additional bookkeeper will have them access the software and do their accounting from there as well. I will say that depending on the size of firm, I think the benefit is it could be a little bit different. So our solo law firms that we work with, they love the fact that they don't have to have a certification or even an accounting degree to get the report that they need to do their simple financials. That it's there, it's built in. We have a lot of default settings that are just like, hey, we make a lot of this work for you. And then you just need to make sure to stay on top of it and get your reporting done when you need to. Then there's the firms that want to leverage a bookkeeper. They have a separate person that can do reconciliation, check printing, reporting, utilize things like bank feed. Like they want a little bit more of that advanced functionality that's dedicated to a specific bookkeeping team. They can do that as well. But like I said earlier, they maintain that visibility of that information, even though they're having someone else who is usually trained in legal accounting and has been doing this for years to do the work for them so that they can focus on being a lawyer, of course. So
Nice. Before we get into the demo, what would you say differentiates CosmoLex from other players in the practice management area? Because it is a huge, well-stocked. There are many
yeah,
options out there. So what is special about CosmoLex?
sure. A couple things. I will say that we are very much because we are that legal compliance focus, because our background was in that billing, trust accounting, and legal accounting focus, is very robust financials. As opposed to just having your basic accounting, we have it pretty robust. And whether it's, like I said, for the lawyer or for their bookkeeper, but also it's not just accounting. Being able to also meet the needs of all of your users so that they can manage their matters, all the details with their matters, their own calendaring, the tasks, collaborating together online, having a client portal, all of that is still there as well. So every person in the firm, whether it's the bookkeeper or the managing partner or an office administrator or paralegal, can utilize the system in a way that's best for them, but it has your favorite thing, which is that single source of truth. So even though I might, as a paralegal for one lawyer, might not have access to everything, the people that need that can see the big picture, and it just helps them to run their practice better and make better decisions going forward too.
Great. Because also
Yeah.
what you were just saying before, the lets you be a lawyer, that was
Hmm.
in legal tech, we talk a lot about like the practicing at the top of your license and like other types of tools, contract drafting or that sort of thing. But like really practice management allows you to do the lawyering stuff because for the
Hmm.
middle-sized firms and the smaller firms, you're running a business, but this kind of helps with that running, because you didn't go to law school to run a business. You went to law school to be a lawyer.
I say that all the time, especially when I'm speaking to the solo or small law firms that are trying to do it all themselves. So you can, and we'll give you technology to make that easier. However, you want to see how much time is actually being spent on that non-billable work, which includes your bookkeeping and it includes your just general tracking of time. How do you make that more efficient so you could spend more time actually engaging with your clients and doing what you do best? Not everybody can be a lawyer. So those that do it have a specific skill set for it. And I try to instill that as much as possible. It's even though you can do everything doesn't mean you should, and just utilizing technology in the way that leverages each person's strength.
That's great. I'm excited to see it. Let's dive into the demo.
Okay, yeah, sure. Let me go ahead and share my. All right. So now we're in CosmoLex. And what I want to start with is we talk about matter management. Whenever you talk about a practice management, it's a global tool for how you run your business as a law firm, but very often it's centered around the matter, the actual files that they're working on. So if I am here within a particular, right now I'm just looking at my matter list, but if I wanted to go within a file, I wanted to show you all the bits and pieces that can be managed within a particular matter. So I can see my billing, which is like my time entries, my expenses, my invoices, receiving payments. I have banking. So we often designate matter accounting versus firm accounting. So to me, matter accounting is client expenses that need to be reimbursed, trust transactions back and forth, even maybe cutting trust checks or moving money from your trust to your business account. All that is involved in your matter accounting. You have your full communication, whether that's tracking emails with the client. We have text messaging with the client or chatting through a client portal as well. So there is a communication aspect there. Your general matter management, which is like your what events we have coming up, do I have any tasks to assign to other people, notes to capture, or even phone messages that might have taken place with a client, anybody in the office really, they can manage that here too. And then you have your document management for all of your matter related items and also just your related parties, which really help with conflict checks, which of course are really important. So wanted to give you a sense of kind of the A to Z. I always relate to lawyers by saying this is your file folder with all
Oh
the
yeah,
different
yeah.
bits and pieces of information that you need to manage your matters. And the other thing I want to mention, which is a somewhat of a newer feature for CosmoLex, is project management. What I love about project management is it's a different way of thinking about your work, especially those that specialize in certain types of law. There's a process, there are steps to that process, and every firm might have a little different process. So you can create these custom statuses, and I could see all of my files in which status they're in, and I can easily move them around. And I can also create rules. These are actually red because these have been in the status more than one day. So having a visual, some people are just a lot more visual and want to see a big picture. It's just a way of seeing, am I on track and are my matters being handled the way that they should, especially if you're maybe the responsible attorney, but you're not physically working on the file every single day.
Yeah, I love this. I'm a big fan of the tile and board
Mhm.
tracking your time kind of situation.
I think it just again brings the importance of having that awareness and just understanding if things are on track or not, because you could be pushing a whole lot of money into a particular case that you're not getting a lot of return on. And knowing how you're spending your time can actually help the firm make more money at the end of the day and more profit.
Oh yeah.
I do also want to touch upon, so you get a sense of, obviously we could talk about it all today, but the practice management aspect, the non-financial aspect of running a law practice. Now about the financial aspect, I think it's important to understand, especially for those that may not handle their accounting or don't really know if they're starting a new firm, what that even means, is to give you a sense of what CosmoLex allows you to do right within the same application. So I'm actually going to go under banking. I have all of my bank accounts, so trust accounts, business accounts, even my credit cards I can manage here. We have business credit cards that have
Nice.
expenses for the firm or for clients. I go within here and I can see all of my transactions. So I can manage my bank register here. I can print my checks. I can add or remove transactions if I need to. And I've been told that we luckily are in that little sweet spot where we don't lock it down so much you can never change a transaction ever. And also we don't make it so anybody can make a change. It's right there
Oh,
in the
yeah, yeah,
middle where
yeah.
it's permission based, but we understand that mistakes happen and people need to change records sometimes. And there's a process to doing that in a way that's compliant, that's not going to get you in any trouble when you produce your reporting at some point. And your full reconciliation. So these are monthly statements that whoever's managing the financial for the firm can come in here and check off these items. And usually they're comparing with the bank statement, either a printout, an online bank statement, or they can even feed in transactions to help with their reconciliation and connect
Okay.
it to their bank account also. And then down here in accounting, I'll just point out you do have your accounts payable, which are your office bills. Every business has maybe rent or utilities or some courier fees and things that they have to pay out of pocket. So they can manage those recurring bills, but also your full chart of accounts, which is the heart of accounting. This is where whoever's handling the financials or your accountant or your bookkeeper has specific categories and they can manage this however they want. So if they take on a new bookkeeper who has done certain categories their whole lives, they can come in here and set it up the way that fits the firm, whether that's expenses, whether that's how you want to track your income, whether that has to do with equity, they can choose how to set it up. But the idea is as you're doing your regular activities like paying an invoice, it's impacting their financial reporting in real time as opposed to having to
Oh,
sync with an outside tool. I'm a fan of integrations, but you have to understand that they come with some responsibility. They are at the end of the day two applications that are usually not owned by the same company that have updates and changes and issues all the time. So you do have to know you have to invest into that maintenance of those integrations. And
that's right.
just
Yeah,
a part of technology, but something that needs to be understood.
absolutely.
And the last piece is reporting. So I did want to point out that a lot of times we talk about financials, especially when I talk to bookkeepers. So, like, what reporting do you have? And they often think that it's very surface level, but we have very in depth reporting that they could use to whatever degree they choose. So, your profit and loss in your balance sheet, which is just general business reporting. I could see my accounts payable and how past due my bills are, or is everything on time? I can even print out 1099s if that's relevant to you in the US, which, by the way, we do service law firms in Canada as well. And we have reporting for that too. All the way down to I want to do a profit and loss by an attorney or by an area
Oh,
of law
nice.
or even offices. Sometimes there's multiple offices they want to do that too. And even more advanced, but some of my favorite reporting is the billing or the collection that happens by an individual. Which lawyer is bringing in how much fee? Is that fee being collected? What are they billing versus what's actually being recovered? And you can get a really good sense of those that have the what you kill mindset, which a lot of law firms do, to get that information very easily. And often the partners know what they want, but they don't know how to get that information. So we
Right.
provide that reporting straight out of the box that the bookkeeper or whoever needs to can produce that fairly easily.
That's what you're saying with CosmoLex. You get everything, and it's really
Yeah.
in-depth accounting. Like it's really not an added module. It's you get the accounting from the very beginning of the relationship with CosmoLex.
Yeah, we're very much financials first is what I would call it. When that's your full billing and accounting workflow plus your practice management, like that's what CosmoLex has done since day one. That is in our base tier. If you want more in-depth practice management, so things like project management and matter budgets, and not everybody needs that functionality, but you can choose a different tier for functionality like that. But this financial robustness that I'm showing you here is all in our base tier.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of sums it up from a very high level, but I wanted to just give a sense to everyone as to the scope of the practice management, but also the scope of the accounting in case they're using QuickBooks and unhappy with it, or if they're using another tool with built-in accounting, they can compare and understand. I think for the right people, when they understand that our mindset is focused on the specifics of a legal practice and ensuring that they can make financial decisions to run their practice better, that's at our forefront. And those that value that as well, we have a great relationship.
Yeah. Because everyone
Yeah.
wants to stay compliant. Any way you can do it as easy as possible. That's
Nobody wants to get
great.
in trouble.
Yeah.
And they're like, if you could just keep me out of trouble. trouble and if I get my reporting done when I need to, and if I can have, sometimes there are law firms that hire bookkeepers and they're just have no awareness as to what's being done. And I think it's important for any business owner to really understand how every facet of your business is running and if it's being run the way that you would like to your standard. And this just allows that visibility very easily as well.
Thank you so much. This has been very enlightening. Money matters make me a little nervous. I can tell this makes it as easy as possible to do accounting when you're not an accountant or you reviewing what your accountant does. It makes it a lot, the gateway
Yeah.
is a lot easier to get into it.
You brought up the point that they didn't go to law school for running a business, right? They didn't learn how to run a business. And that's like every conversation that I have with a law firm is, you're right. You did not, most of them did not go to law school to be a business owner. However, most lawyers end up being business owners. And this is just part of it. It's just you being able to file your taxes, to pay your staff, to budget your expenses. That's all part of running a profitable business. And if you're able to join a larger firm and that works for you and you don't have to deal with that, but most lawyers end up in a solo or small law firm and have to figure it out for themselves. So we just here to help them make it easier and not so stressful so they can focus on lawyering.
That's great. That's a good final thought.
Yes.
Again, thank you so much for this demonstration and for the conversation about CosmoLex and everything it can do. Again, this is Erica Birstler from ProfitSolv. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again sometime soon. Bye.